Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for April 9th. How is everyone doing? My name is Erik. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. We have an absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy Matt is coming on. Him and I are going to talk about the Masters. Really looking forward to picking his brain. He has a whole database that he uses to construct his bets. And Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. But before we get into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, Parlay Play. If you're not using Parlay Play, you're really missing out. Go to the App Store. Download the Parlay Play app. Use promo code NFL Betting Blitz for a nice little deposit match. Now let's shift our attention over to Keelan and see what bet Gino has rocking for us this week.
Here's our best bet for this week. It's coming at Keeneland for Saturday. Remember, tune into this show each and every week for a best bet. All the greatest information in sports from Erik. And whenever you're playing the races, head to drf.com. Make sure to use that daily racing form for all your plays. I'm going to look at Keeneland Saturday, race number 8. Just on paper, you go through this field. There are a lot of horses in here with early speed. Transect, his best races come when he's forwardly placed. They put the blinkers back on. You have an aggressive rider, so you feel like they will be forwardly placed. Giant Game, his best races come when he's right on the lead. Frost has departure. He wants to go to the lead or sit very close. Brigadier General, another one who wants to be forwardly placed in here. You go to Gil Crease. He's actually stretching out from sprint races where he's been sitting just off the pace sprinting, so stretching out, he should be even more forwardly placed in here. You have a horse like Classic Catch. He's one of a few that are real closers in this race. You see, he can actually pass horses. The problem is he hasn't raced since November, and he's actually better going even longer. His victories have been at 1 1/8 miles. He has 3 wins. You see them at 1 1/8 miles, 1 1/8 miles, and 1 1/4 miles. Sort of by process of elimination, you get back to Hayes Strike. This is a horse who runs well going this trip and should get a fantastic setup in here if this race stays intact with most of these early speed horses. His overall record isn't as great because of his running style. In some races, he's just going to be too far back, and he's not going to get the type of setup he needs. But he might in this race. He's going to make his third start off the long layoff. Hayes Strike should come rolling late. 8-1 on the morning line. Anything around 5 or above, I think that's fair value on the number 5, Hayes Strike, in race 8 at Keeneland on Saturday. Good luck to everyone playing the races this weekend. Good luck to Erik in all of your plays, and we'll see you again next week here on Tuesday.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B on X. I'm on this podcast every single week talking NFL, college basketball. We're going to be shifting our attention over now, focusing on the NBA playoffs. That comes out every single Friday, so be on the lookout for that. Now, without further ado, let's welcome a first-timer to the show all the way from New York, my boy Matt. Matt, how you doing today, my man?
Good. How's it going today?
Good. Now, I always ask everyone this, first time, favorite beer, my man. What are we rocking with? What is your go-to beer? What's your favorite beer?
So I like Mythos. It's a Greek beer that we have when we're home. It's easier to get in Greece, but it's popular in a lot of the bigger cities.
Okay. All right. I am not going to lie. I have never, ever had one of those. I am a Miller Lite, Coors Light type of guy. I have some questions coming in the chat, guys. Make sure you keep them coming. A86, any value in betting Tiger to make the cut?
So that's typically not a type of bet I would personally make. So the cut is very easy to make in this type of format. But Tiger, he's had his day. He's not somebody that I'd be betting to make the cut, but at even money, I think it's worth a play. They kind of set things up for him a little. If he's a little bit below the cut line, sometimes it magically moves for him. So I don't mind that bet.
My boy Bobby chimes in. Martinez from Oregon State going to start. You heard it here first. I would absolutely love it. So much for the Wings making the playoffs. RG chimes in. Can Clark bring popularity to the WNBA? What do you think about that?
I mean, she set the record for games watched or viewership watched the other day, right? It was the first game that people started watching was like 180,000 and it exploded to 18 million, 13 million, something like that. Between the UConn game and the title game and that. So I don't see why she couldn't bring some more popularity to it. It's not really watched much now, so anything could be an improvement, I guess.
It looks like from what I'm being told, I am frozen, and I apologize that. Shout out to Xfinity for their lovely service out here in the Chicagoland area. Sport I hate the Lakers says, "What's up, boys? Let's make some money." Says, "Yo, I hate the Lakers. Let Gino know Davis is soft." Davis obviously sitting out with a headache, and I hate the Lakers by his call side. Hates the Lakers. Obviously it was Final Four weekend. We had the championship over the weekend. I just wanted to kind of chime into the Clark thing. I don't know. I feel that the WNBA, with how it's scheduled, is going to be competing with summer. And that's when families are traveling and everything. I think what Clark did was great. She brought eyes to the event, which was insane. Outdrew the men's event, which is even more insane when you think about it. I was at a surprise party on Saturday. I was that guy because I was invested in Horn points. Lawyer 3 is constantly going over to the TV to watch. And I had more people coming up and talking to me about the women's tournament than the men's tournament. So what she did was great, but it's just hard because it's in the middle of summer. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the one thing that I think it's going to hurt. I think she is going to bring eyes on it. I'm worried if she's going to struggle because she is only 154 pounds. It's a little small. It's a little bit more going to be a physical game. I'm worried that she's going to struggle, but if she can bring eyes on and she can transform the sport, look, I'm all for it. But I think with where it lands on the calendar, it's going to be a little hard. Matt Clay chimes in. What do you think about this, Bet? I can't even pronounce that name, my friend.
So it's Ashke Bhatia. So he's played very well the past couple of weeks. The one thing I would be concerned with is he pulled his shoulder going into the playoff on Sunday. So he made that putt to tie it on 18 and gave like a fist pump and threw his shoulder out of place. Then actually after his tee shot, they like brought him into the tent and reevaluated him. So I'd pay attention to that. But if he's fully healthy, I like that bet. You're going to get a little bit of value on him at to make the top 20 as well. Because it'll also be his first Masters.
Oh, it's going to be. Now, does that scare you away from betting someone if it's their first Masters?
So to win, yes. As we were talking about before, somebody that plays, there's only been one first timer that's won. Everybody else has had 2 or more appearances, winning in their third if they've won. But to get in the top 20, top 10, something like that, not as much scare me away. Like last year, Thagala was his first. I think he finished 10th or 12th. So they can be in the mix. And, this year, another good example is Aberg. He has the shortest win odds ever of a first timer. So I guess it's kind of like anything else, the game shifting a little bit.
I remember the first time DeChambeau played, I had him first round leader to win the tournament. I was all in on DeChambeau in literally every bet that first time he played. Oh, my boy. Excuse me. Old man complaining about Detroit sports. What is up, my friend? But I didn't hear your takeaway. What was your takeaway from the Final Four and the championship game?
Yeah, I mean, UConn just seemed to steamroll through everything. It was like, all right, this game might be good. They're playing Alabama. It's tight at half, and then one point they just flip the switch, 5-6 minutes left in the game, and they're up by 15. Same thing again. Watched part of the first half, and the second half comes on, and next thing you know, they're up by 10-15. I'm like, this, I've seen enough of this, seen this story over and over with them.
This is an interesting comment from our boy. Let's make some money. Edie had 37. It seemed like he had 20. I think that's a good assessment. It was the quietest 37 points I can remember.
I think Curry said something like, we'll let them score 50 as long as nobody else scores. We're fine with that.
And that's what I had so many Tennessee futures, and that's what Tennessee did, but they could have had Connect was the only one that could score for my Vols. My takeaway, Purdue had a great season. Edey was phenomenal, but the guards really hurt him. The key to UConn is when you put him in the pick and roll, they do the drop coverage, which means you have to make that 15 to 16 footer. It was open for Smith. He started out, I think he missed his first 4 or 5, maybe even 6 shots. And it just was out of control. He just couldn't get it going. And you have to make that shot in drop coverage. If you can't, it's going to be a long day. Then you have Lawyer. Lawyer can't create space. He can't do anything off the dribble. So he basically just becomes a spot up shooter. And when you're playing a team that doesn't double, which UConn wasn't, Hurley, like you said, was adamant, hey, if he scores 50, he scores 50. Lawyer's basically pointless on the court, and he's not athletic enough to defend Newton, Castle, Spencer, etc. from UConn. And they had no other options. That's why it was out there. I really just feel like them not addressing the guards in the portal, because it hurt them last year when they played Fairleigh Dickinson. I think that was a school that pressed them. Them not addressing that really hurt them this year. And that's what they need to do. If they had, let's put it this way, if they were able to get Cam Spence, if they were able to get Newton from Eastern Carolina that UConn had, I think this game maybe could have played out a little bit differently, and Purdue would have been in a better shot to probably win the game.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all.
Now we have reached the part of my show when we talk about bets. I am going to be pulling up the results from last week. If you look at it, my boy O'Kane hit Sears over 20.5 points. Alabama plus 6.5 for the first half. Did lose Edey over 13.5 rebounds. Old Uncle Rico himself hit Lawyer over 1.5 threes. Horn over 15.5 points. I did somehow lose Bama minus 12, which is still blowing my mind that I lost that bet. But before I get into bets and everything, Matt, you have this system. You sent me the data from it. Very impressive. Why don't you tell everyone about this database, this system you use to make your bets?
Yeah, so it's from the BetSperts website. It's called the Rabbit Hole. And you can essentially weigh out whatever metrics you want for a different week. So each course is a little bit different. Each key metric could be weighted heavier one week over the other. It's like this week, for example, it was heavier driving distance and approach play because the course play is pretty long. Whereas other weeks you could weigh something like putting a little bit heavier, or sand saves a little heavier. So yeah, it's pretty good service. Pay $200 a year for it, and it's worth every dollar.
Nice. Now, where can they find that? Is that the website?
Yeah, so if you go on betspurts.com, it's the rabbit hole up top. A guy I follow on Twitter is the one that is a little bit behind it. Him and his partner, it's Andy Lack and Ron Kloss. And that's how I kind of got involved in betting on golf, followed their podcasts and stuff for a little. When I joined some pools, and I'm like, I need some more, information, because I do data work for a living. I'm like, I can't just, pick a guy every week. I got to know why I'm picking him, or, does he fit this course, or, this type of system.
My boy, old man complaining about Detroit sports. DK lineup, DraftKings lineup is like, do you have any suggestions for a DraftKings lineup this weekend?
Yeah, so I don't get too into those. I played in a couple of the feeders to get into like the Masters Millions and stuff in the past. Not so much this year, but you can build them out through there. Like, so the data that I sent you probably saw over to the left. They have like the price on each guy and what they weigh them out for that. I could work on some lineups and send them to you if you want to share them with your followers.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I will definitely send my boy old man a database and everything. Yeah, because I think, now this is just me spitballing, and I could be completely wrong. The 50-50 contest on DraftKings and FanDuel would be the way to make the money, just because everyone, especially this week with the Masters, bigger tournament, people are going to be looking to play that. You're going to be able to get an advantage, do a single entry, do 1-2 lineups, put your money in there, just like to double it. Because the chances of you making $1 million, for those listening, is very hard. During the NFL, anyone that watches during the NFL knows that when Nick comes on and Nick and I talk about the DFS build, it's just 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50 with the goal to win 11 for the year. If you win 11 during the NFL season, you're making money at the end of the year. And I think for golf, I mean, I think that's doable. If you double it 12, 11 times during the golf season, that's pretty good ROI. Now let's talk some betting. You, my friend, went above and beyond. You gave out top 10s, top 20s, head-to-heads, and some guys to win. We're going to start off with the play that you like the most for this weekend. Why don't you tell everyone what play you like the most this weekend?
Yeah, it's like Corey Connors minus 120 over Max Homa. So Corey Connors last year, he missed the cut here. But prior to that, he had a 6th, 8th, and 10th top finish. And Max Homa, he had his best finishes were 43rd last year, 48th the year prior, and then 2 missed cuts. So course history is pretty key here. And I think a lot of that people overlook Corey Connors, but he's coming in pretty good form as well. So yeah, I think that's a great play. And, over the course of 4 days, I think he'll outperform him. He's second in approach over his last 30 rounds. Putting, which is where Connors kind of lacks a little bit, is very random here. It's not as hard as, a U.S. Open or a PGA or British Open. So I think he can take advantage of being longer off the tee, better on approach, and capitalizing that way.
I Hate the Lakers asks, why don't you like cut bets? Sorry if I missed that part.
So this one has a lot more variety on the cut, but I'm not saying I don't like them. Tiger's just not somebody that I would bet. Kind of be like betting a football team, say betting on Patrick Mahomes. The price is always going to be inflated. Or betting on, LeBron. It's always going to be inflated. So something like that, where if he's even money, he should probably be like plus 125, plus 140.
Okay. What piece of data do you look at the most at the Masters?
So the two sets of data that I think are the keyest this week are the driving distance off the tee and then long iron approach. So especially with the rain that they're projecting on Thursday, the ball would typically carry and roll out through the fairway, but the rain could bog up the course a little bit. They're supposed to get almost 2 inches of rain from Thursday early morning, 6 a.m. or so, till 1 or 2 o'clock. So the ball could stop because, the water will bog down the course. And then the long irons approach. So in the fairway from anything from 150 to 200 range, that's pretty key because the course plays longer.
Now, follow up.
Yep.
If I'm looking to bet like first round leader with the rain forecast, should I look at someone that has an early morning tee time or tend to go to guys that are starting later in the day based on what the weather is for Thursday?
So it's kind of an open-ended question because it really depends on what they do with like restructuring the tee times if the weather's that bad. Because, they have to do their whole traditional thing with the Gary Player and Jack coming out there and taking the tee shot, and they're not going to let them go out there and do that in a monsoon. So if like they move that tee times that would normally be say 7, 8 o'clock back to like noon, then I'd say the guys that are playing at that time have the advantage because they're going to play 8 through, and then they'll come back out in the afternoon. But if the guys, they don't move that around, they're playing 8, and then the next day they're coming back out at like 5 because the tee times like are delayed. So they're staggering everything, kind of like last year, how Saturday's round was basically stopped at like 2 o'clock. Then those guys that were playing in the morning ended up playing in the afternoon, and they had to come back and finish Sunday. Like the third round, they finished Sunday.
Now, do you not like betting first round leaders?
So I've never really got into them. I think there's some value playing them like mid round. So if you can see like how the course is playing, there's a lot of wind going on. you can find a guy that's already in the locker room. He's at 6 under, 7 under. You see, nobody's going to get there. I'll take him at 2-1 because you still got Scheffler and Rory and Rahm and all the big names out there that are inflating the price on, say, Xander or Patrick Cantley, somebody who's pretty capable that's just done.
Now, you mentioned Scott Scheffler. He has the lowest price. He's plus 450. Am I crazy? Like, is he at that point where he should be priced at that level right now? Or is that just, or I just crazy thought right now? You know what I mean?
It's kind of crazy to say yes. Like, yes, I have the outrights that I sent you, and I do like those guys, and I think they're all going to be in the mix through the weekend. But regardless of liking them or not, he's a very, very logical winner. And it's difficult to say a logical winner. In golf, 4 days, 4-1. That's like peak Tiger odds.
I saw that and I was dumbfounded with it.
So if you go through some of the stats that I had sent over to you, his approach game, he's first in the last 30 rounds. His fairways, 150 to 175, first, 175 to 120, 20th, 200 plus, 16th. Around the greens, that means if he misses the shot into the sand or into the rough, saving par, he's third. So he does everything. Driving distance, fifth. He does everything that you want here. And he also has the course history. He won it 2 years ago. And he was fourth last year or fifth last year?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I bet golf 4 times a year.
Yeah.
This is one of the 4. Let's make some money. What happened to Jordan Spieth? Yeah, he kind of fell off the face of the earth, didn't he?
Yeah, and he had a pretty good start to this season too, where he was kind of in the mix and the Players and the Arnold Palmer, and then it was the Arnold Palmer where he was 3 or 4 back going into end of the day Friday or Saturday, and he missigned his card. His caddy or him should have caught, and he missigned his card and got disqualified. I think he was kind of one of those guys that peaked really early in his career. People were painting him as the next Tiger, but they always find that one or two. First it was Rory, then it was Spieth, then it was Morikawa. So they just pivot this guy. They're all looking for the next one. This year it'll be Aberg if he plays well.
My first bet. I took Shane Lowry top 20 at plus 150. Last 4 years, average finish here 16.25, finishing 25 and better in 3 of his last 4. You mentioned how big putting is here. 16th this year on PGA and putting. Good form going to the vet, finished 4th, 3rd, and 19th in the last 3 tournaments. That shows he's headed in the right direction in my eyes. Since winning the Open, he has 10 top 25 finishes. So he has performed at this level in the top 20, top 25 area. I'm seeing plus money on him, so I played him plus 150 to finish in the top 20. What are your thoughts on my boy Sugar Shane?
Yeah, and he's had a good history just at the Masters as well.
Yeah,
it's if he fits the course well, he always plays here. He always plays here very well. He hasn't got over the hump to win, but he's always been around the top 5, top 10. So I like that play.
Now you got some top 10s and you have some top 20s here. Why don't you tell us your next bets, my friend?
Yeah, so Hideki top 10 at plus 180, Connors top 10 at plus 450, and top 20 at plus 180. So like we were mentioning, Corey Connors has always been in the mix here. Other than last year, he's been 6th, 8th, and 10th. His 3 starts prior. He's also coming in good form. His game just fits here. And then Hideki, he has the recent current form. He was 7th last week, 6th the week prior, 12th the week prior, and then he won at Riviera the week prior, which is a very good course comp to here. And again, he won the Masters in 2021, I believe it was, 2 or 3 years ago. So he fits, and plus 180, I'll take that.
Okay. All right. And then with Connors, There's a question from Let's Make Some Money. Lots of Connors actions, Matt. Why not bet him to win? You know what? Let's make some money. We will get to that in a little bit. So I have a question though. You're playing Connors plus 450 top 10 and plus 180 top 20. Do you kind of stagger that? Like hypothetically, I'm just throwing these numbers out. Would you bet $50 at plus 450 for a top 10 and then 100 top 20 at plus 180? You know what I mean? That way you just have a little bit of staggered instead of having set amounts. Do you like stagger bets like that? And then you have them over Homa. You mentioned that was, I think I'm pronouncing that name right. As your first bet, like how would your quote unquote unit distribution? Like, would you bet, like out of those three, which one are you most invested in? And which one is the second? Which one is the last most investment?
Yes, like hypothetically, if somebody was looking to play like $100 on everything total, I'd be like $25 on his matchup, so 25% of the Connors bet. I'd be 25% on the top 20, and then I'd be about 20% on top 10, and I'd play the rest on him to win. So I think that would leave it like 10% to win. Like the likelihood of picking him at 60-1 to win is probably a lot less likely than picking him to beat one individual guy or to be top 20. So it'd kind of be like, for example, like a sports bettor, if they're playing, a money line versus taking +8 or +7, then you'd play like 75% on the +8 and then 25% on the money line.
I got it. My next bet, I playing one guy to win. I am playing Cameron Young at 50-1. He's been improving in Masters. I looked at his past history. 4 top 10 finishes. Seventh, finished tied for 7th in last year's Masters. Good in ball striking, highlighted by he's always constantly gaining strokes. I looked, averaged 3.5 strokes gained in his last 7 tournaments. I really like, based on the data points you sent me, it really looked like strokes gained was a big thing for this event. Good on par 4s. Looking at the PGA site, he's ranked 12th in par 4 birdies or better, 31st in par 4 scoring. There's many par 4 holes on this course, so you really have to make sure you do well with them. He has 4 top 10 finishes, including a tie for 8th at the British Open. I really think he has the experience, and I think we're going to see him kind of break through and get over the hump and take it down. I think he has all the tools to win it. I played him at 50-1. I may be crazy, but that's what I shoot, my friend, like Clay Clemson said.
So he was actually my second pick in a draft I did tonight. So I was the second pick overall. In it, ironically, they banned Scotty from it because they thought it was just unfair with one person being able to take him at first. So I was second pick. I took Brooks, and when it came back around to me, that was my guy that I went to. So I don't mind that play at all.
What was the draft? Tell us what the draft was.
There's 8 of us. We do it for majors every year, and it's kind of just like a rotisserie where you go like 1 through 8 and then 8 back through 1, and then we do the last 2 rounds. If you had first or second, you're 7th or 8th. So yeah, I got him. I got Brooks, Siwoo Kim. Hang on. Let's see.
And then how does the scoring work on that?
So it's just the added up totals. So yeah, I got Brooks, Cam Young, Corey Connors, Siwoo Kim, Ricky Fowler, and Sergio.
Ricky Fowler. God, I used to bet that guy all the time back in the day, dude.
We had so there's 8 of us and there's 8 rounds. So 64 of the 120, 110 guys in get picked. Like when you get to the bottom, there's some ugly picks you got to pick. We had some guy took Phil, Patrick Reed. Like, It's tough. You gotta have 3 guys make the cut to qualify for the prize.
All right. All right. Is that a short sleeve hoodie? Yes. Yes, sports facts. That is a short sleeve. Go, dude. It was like 70 degrees here in Chicago today, man. I'm
Yeah,
not used to.
same up here.
I mean, like we went from it being snowy on Monday or Sunday, and it's Wednesday, and it was 70 here. Weather has been insane here in Chicago. Now you have a couple win bets here. Why don't you share? You have 4 guys you bet to win. Why don't you share who they are and why?
Yeah, so like your friend was mentioning, Corey Connors, we took at 60-1, Neiman at 30-1, Hideki at 20-1, and Brooks at 20-1. They all kind of just fit out the model. The long iron play, the long off the tee. They all have the course history where Brooks, he's top player every year in the majors, and he was second here last year. To Hideki has that win to fall back to here, and he is in great form. He has, top 10s, top 5s in majors over the course of the past year. Neiman's played great on Live, and he also, he got his special invite to here. He's been in the mix. I think he was 16th last year, the year prior. So he's been right around there. All guys that fit at the right number. But with taking those numbers, you're also going to be having to deal with Scotty the whole weekend. If he's 3 or 4 shots behind or more coming into Sunday, I'd be pretty surprised. I think he'll be, 1 or 2 back at the most, maybe even leading that. What's that guy that's on the Golf Channel, Chambly or whatever his face is? He's like, I think it could be a runaway winner by 8 or 10 shots.
Really? Jesus, dude. Let's make some money. I'm riding with Connors too now. I'm seeing DraftKings is offering top 30 bets. Matt, do you like those?
Yeah, if we're taking him for top 20, why not at top 30? He's plus 180 for top 20, so I'd guess he's probably like plus 130 for top 30. So I don't mind that at all.
Excuse me. My final bet. I'm going Russell Haley, top 20 plus 170. Enters the Masters in good form with 7 top 14 finishes in his last 12 starts since the Open. Not really that good driving the ball. Not really. And let me rephrase this. Doesn't hit the longest drives. He's not going to blow you out of the tee box with how far he's driving, but he's very accurate. And when I'm looking at his strokes gain stats and putting, I think he kind of has the skills to be in that top 20 range. I mentioned his putting. It's improved. He's averaged 1.582 strokes gained over his last 5 tournaments, coming off a 4th place finish last Masters. And since 2017, he has good results. Top 20 finishes in all but one of them. He looked pretty good last week, I feel, at the Texas Open, finishing 4th. Plus, he gained 7 strokes on his approach during the tournament. Good form, good history here. I feel top 20 at plus 170. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, and he has good long irons play, which can kind of make up for, being a little shorter off the tee. And like you said, he doesn't have to win. You just need him top 20. So he fits all that.
What does strokes gained mean?
So strokes gained, it's all different categories, but it's strokes gained on the field. So like, for example, he said strokes gained putting, he gained 1.1 strokes gained on the field. So that'd be like 1.1 strokes over the next everybody else.
Okay. All right. Matt, I'd like to thank you taking time out of your Tuesday night to come on, talk a little Masters. First time ever having someone come on, talk golf. Hopefully we can have you on in the future to talk some of these major events coming on in the summer. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media and, how you're going to spend Masters Sunday?
Yeah, so I don't do too much social media anymore. I'm on Twitter at MPAPPPS, but I don't really use it. And then I have Instagram with the same handle on there. Masters Sunday, probably do a little barbecue or something if it's nice out, hopefully. And hopefully we're rooting Connors in.
I'll tell you what. No, this is completely off tangent. On YouTube, there's the Barbecue Bros. Have you seen these guys?
Yeah.
They have this stuffed hamburger that you stuff the meat around a beer bottle, wrap bacon around the outside, stuff it, obviously take out the beer bottle, stuff it with whatever in the inside, cook it over indirect heat for an hour. I'm telling you, phenomenal. It is phenomenal.
So I have a friend who's actually at the practice round tomorrow, and he's one of the 6th guys of 5 guys. So he went down with Cola and all that. He's from up here, and he makes the best everything on the barbecue. Okay. So if you come up to Saratoga this summer, we'll bring you to his house, and he'll be cooking for you. He makes
I love some good barbecue. I love me some good barbecue. Guys and girls, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all you guys. Make sure to give my boy Matt a follow on social media. We will be back next week. Bryce from the I Need It Sports Pod. He's going to come on, and we're going to be talking some NBA playoffs. Until then, boys and girls, let's make some money. Let's cash some tickets.